that duo towards the bottom side. In fact, 100% win rate for Bao on the Aphelios so far in the LCK.
I think it's also really hard to punish, and it gives DRX that inevitable late game win condition, right? Like in Aphelios, no matter what the game state is, if you fumble one of your engages, Aphelios gets to stay alive, particularly when he has someone like Fresh by his side. It just ends very badly, very, very quickly. This Gnar ban is interesting because, of course, I think that Khan is arguably the best Gnar currently in the LCK. But you don't want to first pick Gnar. I don't think he's necessarily first pickable. And then bang it, make sure that he doesn't have to play against it. And King, you know, he played in the LPL, so he can play Gnar as well. That seems to be kind of the rule. Although, I guess we've seen every now and then the Alistar ban. That's actually super. It's a barrel champion, right? Like, it's one of his most iconic and like big play kind of champions. But leaving Alistar open and then allowing the Rel first pick to go over, it says to me that DRX, hopefully, supposedly, has a counter pick in mind, because this should not be a surprise. It's this or Kai'Sa.
This Kai'Sa or Olaf, I guess.
Fair enough, yeah.
Is the other one. That being said, I think first picking Rel is genius. I think this is something that should have been happening in our last series, and absolutely wasn't. Definitely some hiccups in the draft, though, on both sides, but mostly on the side of Hanwha Life Esports, is the Rel first pick is probably a sign of things to come in the future. And now DRX, probably Kai'Sa Olaf here, I would assume. Unless the Udyr wants to get the full priority. And it looks like Pyosik might be going towards the Turbo Tibbers. But no, it is going to be Kai'Sa locked in. Sorry, Xayah locked in. The reason I say Kai'Sa instead is because that's what I was expecting. Yeah. But instead, it's the Kai'Sa counter that's going to be locked down. And
he's been playing it a lot.
Are we Iverning? Because this would actually, this could set up for a really cool composition, but no, it's not going to be the case.
It might still. That's the thing. It might still, right? Like, they didn't pick the Olaf, they didn't pick the Udyr yet. It can happen. Will it be Pyosik or will it be King? And of course, Pyosik has been spamming it in solo queue up until this point. I don't mind the Thresh. I think Thresh is solid, but I would just love to see people pick something to try and actually counteract the Rel. I know her matchup into something like Janna is absolutely atrocious. Now, do you want to pick Janna? Probably not, but I kind of want the teams try and see and try to like deal with the Rel pick, because it seems like it's been such an overpowering menace, both in terms of engage and counter engage. This is looking like a classic Damwon composition. This is, of course, patch 11.2, so Pantheon has not yet been nuded in the jungle. He cannot play jungle anymore in live, guys. Please don't try it. It's very bad. Do not do it. I think his win rate dropped like 9%, which makes total sense considering the double, triple, quadruple nerf that he received, similar to Olaf.
Yep, mega nerfed both directly and indirectly. It's just it's not a good time for Pantheon.
They pick away the Syndra, which is a pick away from Showmaker, because you've said it last cast as well. When we cast the Damwon Kia, it's like, if Showmaker can pick Syndra, he will, and there's not really anything you can do about it, and he will be really, really good. So denying that is nice. And Damwon Kia already super strong composition, right? Early game power for Canyon, a lot of side laning pressure with the Killer Instinct and the Grand Starfall. So all in all, solid starts here for both sides, I'd say.
Yeah, I imagine DRX probably just going to ban away Orianna Zoe and make sure that Showmaker is on one of his, second fiddle type champions. He's only played one game of Orianna, interestingly enough, but that one is going to be their first ban away. And there's the Olaf ban. I imagine something like a Lilia or a Nidalee will be taken off the board next. That being said, maybe they are okay with them funneling a little bit too much magic damage towards the top side of the map, and perhaps we'll see another AD jungler taken here. You're down to your Hekarims and things like that. As Udyr, probably a good choice, and that one is going to be banned away. Can't believe I didn't think about it, because Pyosik is on the Rift, but I hope you guys will forgive me for that one. I did get right, at least, what DRX was going to be banning away.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, God,
there we go. He's doing it again. And now I hope for like a crazy R5 pick as well. Give me something cool for King, and that we're happy. Now the Mundo, we've talked about a little bit already. Mundo's power lies in his insane clear, something that Udyr also excels at, but as opposed to Udyr, who brings tankiness and a little bit of lockdown, combined with strong early game power, Mundo's early game skirmishing is not as strong. It's like 1v1 dueling is still fairly impactful due to the auto attack resets and like the amount of damage he can pop out on his E. But you're mainly picking him to become a huge nuisance come team fights. And you know, we're seeing some harvest. Will not be surprised if they go for something solid in the form of the Ord, and this is just a super straightforward composition from Damwon Kia here.
Yep, about as front to back as you can get, with some dive potential with the Rel and Pantheon. I like it. But yes, very, very standard, whereas on the side of DRX, they have a Mundo. So we can't say it's standard because that hasn't been played yet. As there is one game, of course, but Pyosik unfortunately wasn't able to pick up the victory. So let's see whether he's going to be better this time around. I love the volley bear though, Chronicler. We saw this be very successful in the LEC. Let's see what Kingen can do.
And this does fulfill my checklist for a good DRX composition, which is, do you have one or multiple characters that can run at the enemy very, very fast in a menacing way? They've hit 2. So that's pretty good. I think that the DRX comp excels in a little bit more in, think skirmishes, right? Like early game rotations that they can find and 100 to 0 blow up potential. They can front to back team fight, but their initiation is not as strong, right? Like you're looking at something like a hook or a scatter or King jumping in, but he should be more of an off tank, right? We expect him to build some damage. So straight up front to back, not as good as Damwon Kia, because let's be honest, like it has Ornn, Victor, Rel, Kai'Sa. Like that should not require any explanation. I mean, generally if you draft Ornn, your front to back will be good. It's how it works. But I think that the composition from DRX does allow them to do what they do best, which is find someone that is remotely out of position, blow them up, and then run really fast at the rest of the team or at an objective or whatever is freely available, and then go from there.
No, actually, I really like it. I actually like the priority in the draft as well. Kingen's already 2-0 on this volley bear. We saw the Mundo not necessarily find the value that Pyosik wanted the first time he played it, but this is a brand new chapter. And let's see whether DRX can get the upset against Damwon Kia as we hop into game number 1 onto the Rift. Damwon Kia with a very standard draft, no surprises, and DRX have a Mundo. And I'm very excited to see how it's going to go.
It's just a matter of time before he starts pulling out the Shyvanas and the Ivorans, right? Like Pyosik, you know he's going to do it at some point. As
oh yes.
Yet again, he gets your favorite skin right, Atlas.
Oh, the Gonk. Beautiful. We have been blessed once again. We'll see whether we're blessed with a victory.
What would you say is the best skin choices? Because I feel like this split has been Pyosik, right? Like he's the only one playing consistently, definitely not Udyr.
True. I think he's certainly very good when it comes to like troll skin picks. This one is not necessarily troll unless you're Cloud Templar sitting on the desk, because this was when he lost the Season 2 final.
Oh, yeah.
So a little bit sad, but definitely it just, as far as like the sound effects, it's just the greatest thing ever.
So good.
So good. Yeah. The only other one that's also really good is the Jax bopping a turret. I don't remember which skin that was, but also very, very satisfying.
I really like the noises that Jax makes, like once he stacks up his passive, right, and he just goes. And yeah, this is so Mundo, kind of akin to Olaf in that he doesn't mind getting low, because it gives him additional attack damage, as well as just the fact that he's passive, right?
So high.
Yeah. He's generally fine with being a little bit bothered. The problem, of course, is that he can't really match Canyon in terms of early game prowess. And Canyon is the one who, kind of in the flip of what I was talking about earlier, but Canyon is the one who gets funneled and then carries. In this case, he's definitely the instigator for DK, right? He can start looking at something like, if bot summoners are forced from Bao and Becca, make a play there, set up Showmaker to maybe find an early kill on a Syndra who's not very mobile. Even forcing flashes in a lot of these cases will be enough, because I feel like Canyon also has faith in the rest of Damwon Kia, right, to actually exploit leads that you get them in the laning phase, which, considering their performance thus far, is very, very justified. Now, jungle is also pathing in opposite directions, so I don't think we're actually going to see any early game fight between those two.
Yeah, it's not going to be meeting towards the top side to battle over a scuttle or anything like that by the looks of things. It should just be a gentleman's agreement at this point in time. And Mundo's probably going to be pretty happy to have a free ride through his jungle the first time around, I would assume. And you can see Showmaker already with a lot of priority in the mid lane, which is generally what Showmaker is trusted to do in a lot of instances, especially here in a just straight control mage matchup.
And unfortunately for Canyon, we're also seeing the same on top side. Kingen he's a bro, you know, fully bro. He's immediately helping out his teammate, making sure that there's no double scuttle possibility, because this is something that Damwon has been doing, where Showmaker, as you say, trades his entire mana bar to both get Soka low and get an insane amount of prio on this wave. But then that does also lead to, if you don't capitalize on that, then you're a little bit sad. And there we go. You know, the prio has been found, and Canyon can immediately capitalize with a nice one-camp steal here, as well as some tracking on the Mundo.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, double wards being chucked down here in the enemy jungle, and obviously Pyosik is likely to head over here, so immediately information being gained as well. So very valuable start here for Damwon Kia. But let's see whether DRX, you know, they thrive when they're behind just a bit. That's generally
that's the sweet
their
spot.
comfort zone, exactly. So let's see whether they can capitalize on that this time around. But it's just going to be such a tall order against Damwon Kia, right? Because they're just the team that makes the least mistakes here in the LCK. And DRX, they thrive on capitalizing on enemy mistakes. And when there aren't any, they're just going to lose.
Yeah,
and,
it gets hard. It gets really hard.
Let's hope that they have a different plan here to try and force the issue as we get further into this game.
And like Pyosik is just not going to have any playmaking potential, right? Like he is 100% tracked. Every time that a DK member finds prio, they shove it in, right? They immediately run towards the jungle and put down those wards. Now, I gotta say, even though I think it's strong, I wonder what openings are gonna actually open up due to this. Because if you're playing into a Pantheon, right, then it makes a lot of sense. But in a Mundo, like, does Mundo really want to do anything besides full clear? Probably not. Like, he just wants levels, he wants farm, he wants a chem tank, he just wants to chill. So while this is still very valuable information, and it allows the rest of DK to actually play with impunity and continuously get that priority without being afraid of Pyosik suddenly being in their lane, it doesn't actually advance Canyon or any of the laners. But then you look at DK's team and you're like, well, they don't really need to advance anything, right? Like, their scaling is absurd, so it's completely fine.
Yeah. Well, that's a good stun, as Soka is finally able to get this minion wave across the middle of the lane. Feels like it hasn't been here for a very long time, as our Showmaker will get that push back, and you can see 10 CS in the lead. That pressure has been working out very, very well here for the victor. This barrel just crashes down to the bottom side of the map. Grouping around this dragon at the moment, but it's mainly just to get Pyosik some priority here on the scuttle. We'll be able to pick that one up, so that's definitely good news, as Canyon is busy taking down some pebbles here on the bottom side of the map. He'll walk over a ward here also, most likely. And so his position's going to be known as Showmaker. Just gets ulted. Solka just trying to put on some pressure as much as he can, but Khan is here in position. Flash comes out, and that is very free. And Khan will just walk his way back up towards the top lane and most likely not lose out on too much.
And especially awkward with the way... never mind, Showmaker just shoves it back in. I was like, maybe Showmaker wants to go for a little bit of pressure. Create a freeze there, but no, Damwon doesn't freeze. Damwon pushes, and they gain advantages that way. I actually think Soka played that fairly respectfully. I think if he gets baited into a longer trade with Showmaker there, he definitely dies. Flash is still unfortunate though, because the setup for Canyon just is now so easy. So Soka really has to be mindful, especially with a Grand Starfall Pantheon in the general vicinity, because point and click is really easy. Pyosik, buddy.
Yeah, he's just going to be taking this one. Oh no, he put in all of that effort, and Canyon just says, thanks, bro. Oh, man. Very unfortunate. Yeah, he does have smite, so it's a little bit, oh no. Maybe just thought that he'd be able to do it, being a little bit greedy there. And Pyosik, if he is anything, he's a little bit greedy.
Yeah, I can also see like a case where he wants to hold it. I don't know what we don't know what the second cooldown on Smite will be, right? Maybe he only has a single charge, and if you go for the Smite, Damwon is definitely the type of team that will immediately run towards Rift Herald. And no, you don't have Smite, you can't contest this.
True.
So that could also be the reason, or he's just greedy. I give it about 50-50 either way, but a bit of waste of time there from Pioshik, but there is no actual punish coming through here. And it does secure Canyon a little bit of a lead, which is generally not what you see on Pantheon into Mundo, but Mundo needs a little bit of time and levels to really hit his stride. As our Rift Herald will get started up here. The roam has already been set in. Ghost is going to back. Never mind, gets cancelled, but I thought he was going to back and then also just roam towards top side to at least hover. And this is looking clean so far from DK.
Barrel getting a little bit low, but this is just buying some space for Canyon to complete this Rift Herald. It looks like DRX should be able to get this rotation, but triple control ward gives Damwon Kia all of the information needed. There's the crash down. Instantly, they get a flash as immediately Canyon gets in there with the stun. Pioshik going down very low, but he's Mundo, and he's level 7. Canyon does lock down the Rift Herald, but this is going to be a fight in favor of DRX as far as the man advantage, as Canyon flashes towards Solka. Can he get in range of a stun? The answer is going to be no, as he turns it onto Pioshik, and Solka takes the Lantern Ride to get himself to safety. Great Hook is going to come in, and Showmaker is going to have to flash to get himself out. He goes down very low. Khan just has no damage, and Kingen just walking this one out. Canyon also off to the side, and Damwon Kia are getting trolled by DRX, who are just kiting them relentlessly. Beryl now finds his way back into the fight, and yes, Damwon Kia managed to get themselves the Eye of the Herald, and Kingen should be going down here. Yes, he does. So I guess the trade in the end is going to work out for Damwon Kia, but still, that was chaos.
That was such a troll fight. It felt so chaotic. And this is like, I feel like, oh, back, okay, now it's starting to become bad. Okay, never mind, nothing happens, it's fine.
Yeah, I was safety, we're fine, we're okay.
Fortunately, Rel, I think, pretty busted, but one of the things that she genuinely does not have is actual damage, so Becca's fine there. But this is what DRX does, right? Like, even if the skirmish in terms of gold, in terms of trades, doesn't really work out, you do see what the power of this team is, and it's that, like, the limit testing style, right? Like, the trying to troll your opponent by being so close to death but not actually dying. And I think that they play the skirmish mechanically very, very well. This is a really big risk, but it's kind of saved by Becca, who both dodges the engage and then saves Pioshik's life. However, the fact that they actually hard commit here initially kind of surprised me, considering the fact that the mana bars are kind of low, right? Sorka already used this combo, and then being that far up as Syndra is not the greatest place to be. Also funneling into a choke point against the Victor is always a really big risk. And then you have Kingen and Becca, who just fight for what feels like a full minute with really low health bar. And this is where the combination of Grasp, like that skirmishing power of the Volley Bear with the continuous health that you get from finding enemies, and then this, it's just like, it's just perfect. It's so troll. And it doesn't actually get them a lead, right? But Damwon Kia don't get a huge lead out of it either. And I guess you take that as a win here if you're playing against the world champions. Comp-wise, it's not actually necessarily good, but 2 Kentanks finished. That's the spike.
Yeah, exactly. We've done it. We've made it to the items that we needed. The Bear is going to be booking it right into that backline whenever he wants to, alongside this Mundo. So let's see whether they can force a fight. We do have the Mountain Drake still not looked at. It's been alive for a while as Canyon comes on over. Doesn't notice that there's this ward here, but Pioshik nowhere near the vicinity. And this one should be just guaranteed for Damwon Kia, especially considering the fact that they had pressure in both mid and bottom lane. So this is a comfortable pickup. Damwon Kia still looking to press forward, but they are behind in gold by just a little bit. So DRX, by all means, not out of it or anything like that, especially after that skirmish going so evenly.
I think the problem in quotation mark for DRX is that Damwon Kia has, I think, the way more straightforward late game composition. I wouldn't necessarily say strictly better. I think that Volibear and Syndra kind of run into issues, but Mundo and Xayah obviously skill great. But it's not a straight up teamfight composition, right? You're looking for like these skirmishes, you're looking for brawling, you're not looking for a very clean-cut team fight. Actually forcing that is kind of going to be hard. So going for plays like this, I think, is fine, but if you never have prio on mid lane, you can't actually go for it. And Damwon Kia, if they're just playing this for the next 10 minutes, like they're super happy. Like their team comp skills absurdly well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that DRX are going to be looking for picks around the mid game, right? Like you see Thresh, you see Syndra. It's fantastic for that. Not to mention, you know, you can even start things off with a cute little gonk coming through from Pyosik at the same time. He can be frustrating. He can get into the enemy jungle and remain pretty safe with the fact that he's Mundo. And that should be okay. And he's keeping up with Canyon very, very well. That being said, when I'm saying keeping up with Canyon, I feel like at this point, this is when Pyosik's going to start pulling ahead, right? Because his clear just becomes ridiculous. And Canyon's still, you know, he clears relatively well, but it shouldn't be towards the level of Amundo.
Ah, yeah. Hit me.
Okay.
And this is how you
steal a red buff, by the way.
This is how you keep ahead of the Mundo, right? Like, it's really interesting because Damwon Kia is not actually doing that much on the map, right? We had like 1 or 2 small skirmishes or fights, but they have been consistently invading this Mundo. And I think one of the reasons why you pick Mundo is because he does overtake his opponent in farm. He does get a big lead and then hit his spikes earlier than you, and then he becomes this big unkillable juggernaut. What happens instead is that through continuous pressure, specifically from mid-wave, because Showmaker is, you know, the best mid laner in the world, arguably. That helps. I was playing a character which I think from this point on it's pretty normal for the Victor to have like perma prio early on in the matchup. It's definitely not supposed to happen. You know, generally Victor does need his 100 stacks to kind of reliably get that clear on the wave. That is not a problem for him whatsoever for this entire game because it's Showmaker. And that does mean that DRX is going to be kind of relying on Damwon Kia to make mistakes, right? That is what you do. They make a mistake, you see someone out of position, and then you sprint at them. But it's Damwon Kia, and they don't make that many mistakes. It's been kind of a quality of theirs.
Even with the addition of Khan, right? I thought he'd add some consistency to this team, but weirdly enough, he's been the most consistent player so far on this team. It's just crazy how some things happen, and just shows that he has meshed with this squad very, very quickly and very well, which is exactly what Damwon Kia required, especially after losing someone like Nogri, who is so important for this team. DRX booking it over towards Shirley right now, as there is a teleport in. DRX not wanting to let this one go without a fight. And double teleports, actually, as everyone getting into position to make sure that they can lock this one down. Pyosik grabs himself the Rift Scuttler as Showmaker, not able to find that death ray quite yet. Is Canyon very close to having that Grand Starfall available? Not quite there just yet. Good hook is going to land there on a barrel. He crashes down away from the fight. Gravity Field boxes down. Not too much more. Chaos Storm just chilling in the backline, just trying to soften up the members of DRX where they can. And it looks like Damwon Kia are going to use this slight advantage to get themselves Shirley.
Kingen also not able to really keep Khan out of the lane and keep the priority there, of course. The problem there is that Kingen has to kind of push into an Ornn, which is kind of doable, but you also have Canyon there, right? You know he's there. Pyosik hasn't hit level 11 yet, which is a really big breakpoint for that ultimate. So it feels bad to give it up here, and I'm afraid that this is going to be like the type of positions that you're going to continuously be put in here as DRX, who, as we've said, they just have like a certain je ne sais quoi, right? You don't know what it is, but like they just win games. Like they run over you. And Damwon Kia just don't seem to give those kind of openings as of yet. If it was Damwon Kia 2 weeks ago, I would have believed. But right now, I have a hard time seeing if Damwon keep playing this game, how as DRX you find an actual opening. Because you already mentioned the pick potential, but look at the vision control from Damwon Kia.
Well, this is the thing, like a pick comp relies on having vision control themselves, right?
Exactly.
You set up around an area and then you get the picks. Well, if you don't have an area to set up around, then you're not going to be able to get those picks, right? So this is a little bit dicey. As we can see, Showmaker's the one with the biggest lead in this game. In fact, he's responsible for almost the entirety of this gold lead, largely in plates, but also in that first turret blood that he was able to pick up there in the mid lane as well. Gold lead is not really anything to speak about, and we have either Ocean or the Infernal Soul this game. I'm trying to imagine just how disgusting DRX will be if they manage to get a quad Ocean Soul.
Oh, please. I want to see it.
Could you imagine that? Volibear and Mundo? My god, that is just repugnant.
It might happen because they're not getting this Drake.
Well, it's an Infernal as well, so Grand Starfall to get Canyon out. That's like basically flash length But now Killer Instinct has to be used by Ghost to get himself out of here. Track Repel, try and get that a little bit of extra status. Canyon flashes over the wall. That's why he used his ultimate, not the flash, by the way, guys, because he needed to use it right now. But now Beryl dives in with the Magnet Storm. The Ram is going to follow up as well. It's just used for a knock-up onto the Thresh. They eliminate both supports on both sides as there's Kingen diving on forward with the ultimate. But it's going to be the disengage out from Damwon Kia. And so they get themselves the Drake, they get themselves out, and they grab a kill trade between themselves and DRX. So I guess you're trading up if you're Damwon Kia.
Yeah, this is, even though it looks good, it's definitely a win for Damwon Kia, as you say, because in an even situation, they're the victors, right? Like, they're the ones who are really going to be happy. They don't need to win this early game. Like, they are, which is impressive, but they really don't need to. You do see, though, that if DRX can single out a target, they can still go for them very quickly. And Bao, even though he's not one of the names that you think of when you talk about great AD carries, right? You mentioned his Aphelios already. This is the kind of position that he's comfortable with. I love this hook from Becca here. I thought he like preemptively aimed it, but he did not. He did hit it though. It was just to the side enough. And here you see the value of having a Thresh with characters like Mundo. Beryl goes in really deep here, but there is no immediate follow-up, besides some CC coming out. And that is a really big problem because it's fine if you get any damage, but as we mentioned previously, Well has basically no damage available, and Showmaker not really in a position to get anything done there, and he is their big AoE damage source. So as a whole, a lot of words to say, only the supports die and nothing else really happens.
Yeah, it was
it's the LCK, right? Like we can't have skill check team fights to the death if there's no objective. Just gonna chill, you know. You get our support, we get yours.
And also, the thing that's going to get really difficult for Damwon Kia is that the top side of the map, this Volibear Mundo combo, are going to become so difficult to kill. So those fights are only going to get more and more like that, right? Where it's a whole lot of buttons being pressed by Damwon Kia and Pyosik running around in circles saying, ha ha ha, this is fun.
They're going for the exact, they're both just going for like force of, they're definitely going for force of nature as well. Oh, Showmaker.
Yep, Pyosik just gonna run at him. There's the chem tank, as at least the gravity field does some work, but the hook is so good from Becca. And now Canyon might have just delivered himself over to this squad. He's strong enough so that they do back away. Teleport comes in, cancelled there by Khan. As now Kingan's looking for the fight, but he's not necessarily winning it as of yet. We are gonna have just backing off towards the top side and the bottom side, and you can see that Ghost is going to reap the rewards by getting a free shove in mid.
Feels like Becca's hooks are something else today.
He's saving this game for DRX by himself.
And it's so important for this comp as well, because yes, the running fast at them looks funny, but without King in there, you don't have actual lockup, right? Like you have a Scatter the Weak, which is easy to with the Cleaver, but Mundo doesn't actually do that much, weird as it sounds. And that's why the fact that Becca predicts this hook is so incredibly important. Because if he doesn't hit this, and this was actually a full-on predict, right? Like, Sorka can't get into the right place. Here, again, the value of having that lantern. Mundo can get taken out if it's necessary. But not hitting those hooks means that that play doesn't happen, right? Like, you just Showmaker just walks off there, and then you might still get collapsed on, and that play looks completely different. But instead, DRX, they were at a deficit at 15 minutes as per usual, Atlas, and they're just kind of doing it again.
The script, man, it's been written already. We don't need to talk about it because everyone knew that this is how this game is supposed to go. Yes, the lead is not insurmountable by any means. Khan's going to get down towards the bottom side. He's level 13, so these ornaments are going to start to come through. And it's going to become more and more difficult here for DRX to keep up as far as the stats are concerned. But their composition is still going to do what it's going to do. As we've got, you mentioned double force of nature, but no, we're running fast.
No.
Double Deadman's Plate.
No, I know, but it's going to be Deadman's Plate into force of nature, because force of nature also
already movement speed. Yep.
Just more movement
and
speed.
And Shirelia's is already completed from
Oh
Becca.
boy, that's so
We're going to be booking it. Do you know what we needed? We just needed a Cloud Soul. I should have done my job, but I didn't do my job.
Yeah, that's really on you. I'm sorry to see that. Pyosik actually, like, he really hurts. He's a painful bug. And they do kind of need this Drake. You can't give Soul Point over. Careful for the collapse here, though.
Yep. We'll see whether they can stack up 4 of them as Pyosik is in position. It is going to be a 50-50 as Pyosik does have the level advantage, but Canyon has the smite button as once again Beryl goes in. Khan found the flank, but Becker's going to interrupt the ram. Beryl might need to get out of there as Pyosik's very low, but that's exactly how he wants it. Ghost, killer instincts in. You ain't killing this Mundo. He goes where he wants to. And that is going to be Pyosik flashing out of the way. They knew the Grand Starfall was coming in, and now an attempted re-engage. There's the ulti from King, and they take down Becca, but it's traded. Showmaker does go down, but Bao in the backline is going to get eliminated, and Ghost is free hitting. He can do what he wants this fight as well, as Damwon Kia do win out in the end.
In terms of execution, that final turnaround that they do is perfect. But in terms of actual, is it a good idea? It's a big no-no, right? Because they hit the hook on Showmaker, they blow him up, but you're still in a really close corridor against the characters that love that, right? You have Ghost firing off Ikafian Reigns, you have Canyon with his empowered Q, like it's just way too much damage here. And it started off okay. It looked like the kind of chaotic teamfight that DRX kind of want, but in the end it's not enough. Damwon Kia just something else, man. Canyon stealing it with like a level deficit, and that's kind of where it goes from bad to worse. The fact that this is such a like kind of drawn out skirmish due to Kingdom strat in the backline is really, really good. But a really early Feather Storm means that Bao doesn't really have as much freedom as he would otherwise like to, and they immediately get zoned off. As you already pointed out, this is Pyosik comfort zone, like 10-15% HP. But then, unfortunately, Pyosik goes one way, the rest of the team goes the other. Here, watch the hook that comes through from Becca. It is really well done, but they don't have the cooldowns or the damage to really make that choke fight work. So even though I think the execution there is very nice, yeah, even though the execution is really nice, it doesn't actually gain them anything. I'm still impressed with how well DRX are playing this game, but I also am starting to worry as, yeah, there we go. Good job. How does Canyon take this much damage though? Because that's actually insane.
These are the top 2 damage takers in the league. In fact, Pyosik and Canyon 1 and 2, but Canyon just a little bit better at it. Hook is going to land once again because of course Becker is just a beast. Does go golden. Pyosik going to have to run away. He's at exactly the health bar that he wants. As the ulti comes down, Ghost is going to get baited as well. I think we all knew what was going to happen there. King and not going to be so lucky, though, as the double kill does come through in the end.
Pyosik is just the biggest troll, and like, it doesn't matter for the team fight, right? Like, they try to go for the pick, and you need to at that point in time. DRX are in a position where they know in a straight up front to back, we get outskilled, right? In terms of tools, there was so much available. They have Baron buff, and it's yet again Becca that starts that play with a really nice hook. But in the end, the item spikes are hits. We have a really nice buy from Canyon here as well, by the way. Look at that Campunk chainsword. We're very, very good. Very happy to see that against the composition you're facing. Pyosik is going to get out of here, right?
Well, he's going to try, but this has got a lot of heal deny on it. Is Canyon. Oh, that's a great side as he gives him the old thumbs up and walks out. This Mundo is absolutely going where he pleases, but I don't know whether the game is necessarily going where he pleases.
He can't keep getting away with it, Atlas, every time. And here we see the play, as I mentioned earlier, like it's Becca, it's that combination that we talked about, hook into scatter the weak. The problem is though, Damwon Kia is more than ready for this. And you're hitting Beryl, who is not the person you want. You need Showmaker, you need Ghost. And even though, you know, that fight looks, it feels yakety sexy, it's definitely not for Damwon Kia. They're able to really cleanly find the re-engage. And once Showmaker and Ghost can just freely deal damage, there's just nothing you can do.
Yeah.
Pyosik, man,
the double thumbs up is so good. Canyon and Pyosik did it exactly the same time. It's like a gentleman's agreement. It's like, okay, yes, good. We had a good fight there. They're actually just fencing. It's like Wolf in high school. I think he did fencing. I think he did fencing, and it was either in college or high school. Or something.
Wow,
I don't know. I know that he fenced. But yes, that was definitely a gentleman's duel, and they got a little bit tired towards the end, and then walked away.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, you get a couple of hits in, and then you leave it at that. I think that's it's quite admirable, really.
Yeah. The thing that I'm really worried about is that I feel like DRX's composition has run its course. And Canyon, it felt like he out-healed Pyosik in that last exchange as well, because he has the Gore Drinker and no one's stopping his healing when he does have that cool chainsaw. and that's going to be chopping down Pioshik's ability to be Mundo, which is precisely not what he wants. Still, the gonks are coming in, and this is Infernal Soul. And DRX need to get into position to try and stop this, as there is a brick wall, there's a Magnet Storm, they have the Infernal Soul. Ghost gets into the backline and everyone is evaporating. We mentioned the comp may have run its course, maybe the game has done exactly the same thing right now as well. Solka will be able to find the ulti onto Ghost. A fair bit of gameplay is copped, but it's a double kill to come through from the Pantheon. Pioshik is still alive, but this is the problem with Mundo. You can ignore him.
He does nothing at all. Ah, come on, give us the thumbs up, boys. Come on, fight it out. I want to see a fight to the death. This game is definitely over. Damwon Kia, you know, they entertain DRX, which I really appreciate. But when it comes down to it, unlike other teams that we've seen thus far that might fall for the antics, Damwon Kia just played this one out so cleanly, man. They don't give any openings. Their backline play is impeccable. Canyon, like you said, takes more damage than a Mundo. That's just, it's just so, it's like from the beginning till the end of this game, it feels like Damwon Kia is always in control. They always have a plan and they always follow through. And it's just, that's not what other teams do, and that's why DRX win. But I also feel like after a game like that, I don't know what you do as DRX, because that was just, it had really nice moments. But when it boiled down to it, did you ever feel like Damwon Kia were not just gonna like run away with that game super easily?
Yeah, no, I didn't. I was never in too much doubt, to be perfectly honest.
It was so fun.
It was definitely very fun. I love watching Mundo. Unfortunately, Mundo wasn't able to actually be effective at all when it came to those